Okay, we got to talk about the whiteout. I love the whiteout. The whiteout is one of my absolute favorite parts of college football. I always say the two toughest environments in college football, whiteout at Penn State and a night game at LSU. The whiteout, though, it's awesome that it has its own name because it deserves it. Like, it is a fan base that fully embraces it. Everyone's head to toe in white. The white pom-poms, it shakes. It's so loud, and I don't think you can replicate an experience of a whiteout until you are actually there and actually in it and feel it. They're going to count the false starts in this game, I'm sure, for Oregon. Like, there will be a lot of pride in that, but there's just so much at stake in this game. It should be a top 5 game, but it's top 6 matchup here. Penn State favored by 3.5 points against the Ducks. So unfortunately for James Franklin, if he wins this game, it doesn't affect that 1-15 record against the AP top 5 opponents.
What a shame.
But it would go a long way to say that this is a Penn State team that people should take seriously, that this is a Penn State team that is capable of contending for the Big Ten, for a national championship, like all the reasons that Drew Allar and the running backs and everybody came back, that they're on that path. Because to date, Joshua, their schedule has been very underwhelming. And honestly, the Penn State offense has looked underwhelming at times against it. I think the receivers have looked pretty good. Like, you can see the steps that they have been taking. But Drew Allar and then Nick Singleton has also not been great. And James Franklin was talking about he's been pressing and trying to do too much. Katron Allen's been the better back so far this season. So this is a big opportunity for Penn State. We'll get to Oregon in a second, but let's just set up what is available, what is the opportunity, and also what the pressure is on Penn State in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure is this is the year where they said you can win a national championship, and if you're going to do it, you have to do it this year. And I think this is kind of like that first step in the journey toward being a team that can win a title. Is you've got to beat the teams like Oregon, especially when you get them on your home turf. I'm kind of with you generally. Like, Drew Allar to me feels like he is who he is, which is not an elite guy. It feels like he needs maybe to be supported by good talent on the outside because he can't elevate those guys. And he should have a run game that brings the safeties down toward the box to where he gets one-on-ones and can just, dot people up. And it doesn't seem like that's happening. But to your point, run game, maybe not as good as we thought. I also think their wide receivers are I'm done talking about that group for right now. They can show me something on Saturday, but like, even in getting better, I still don't think it's a group that I would call home about. So their offense is a little bit of an issue to me, but their defense, very good, very talented. This is kind of the game where we figure out how much did Jim Knowles get in? How much is he translated to those guys? He's notorious for taking a couple years to install, and Oregon already knows what to expect with that defense from a structure standpoint. Like, how deep can you go into your bag to stop an offense like Oregon's?
One quick point. We saw that graphic comparing Drew Allar and Dante Moore. One thing that's really glaring in this is that Drew Allar has only thrown 4 passing touchdowns. Dante's thrown 11. Listen, they also, they've been able to kind of pick their point total in a lot of their games so far this year, but it speaks to Penn State offense that, again, you do have 2 great backs, so maybe they're going to be the ones to punch it in, but also they've stalled out in the red zone. And that's a concern with Penn State's offense, especially early in games. I mean, they've had really slow starts, and it's looked very similar to some of their offensive limitations last year. And that Drew Allar looks like the same quarterback he was last year. He was supposed to take a step this year. You're not necessarily seeing that, but this is a big opportunity. Oregon's got some incredible defensive players, especially some edge guys and linebackers as well, that are going to be a challenge for Allar. And again, an opportunity for him to take a step forward against good competition. I will say though, so I'm with you on overall kind of where Penn State is, that you want to see the receivers do it against good teams. What's hard about this matchup with Oregon and Penn State is neither of them have been tested, and they haven't actually faced like an offensive line or defensive line, anything close to what they're going to be playing this Saturday. Your point about Jim Knowles is taken, because if you look at what he did with Oregon last year, right? So Oregon got the better of the first game, the home game in Eugene, top 3 showdown against Ohio State. And then they just got totally wiped off the face of the earth at the Rose Bowl. So when I was in Eugene, they were talking about that and about what they learned from facing Jim Knowles in both times. They talked about the importance of the start of the game and the ability to run the ball, and how that paced the game and created some things that were different in that first matchup. And then, with the second game, Ohio State was suddenly up, like 24-0 or whatever it was, like right out of the gate. You can't establish a run at all. You have to throw it. It changes the way that they're going to call the game for you. So I think they're really interested in, and I spent time with Will Stein, who I think is a great offensive mind, the OC there. We'll talk about Dante Moore and how excited he is about him. But that's what they're really interested in. Like, they think that the team that's going to establish the run better is going to be the team that wins the game. And then I think they also think that they want to see how Jim Knowles is playing them, and how he is approaching what they do, to see what they're going to call and how they're going to game plan against it. Because I think they're expecting a couple of different options and a couple of different things based on the two different experiences they had against him last season. So that's really interesting for one. The receivers for Oregon, I think it's a clear edge, or at least let's call them the pass catchers, because I think you want to put Kenyon Sadiq in there.
Have to.
He's awesome, by the way. He is awesome. Will Stein compared him to, he's like, I've never had a guy like this, but I feel like it's got to be like when Georgia had Brock Bowers, or when Penn State had Tyler Warren. And you just feel like you can play through them in a lot of different ways. They're being really careful with him. Like, they're going to make sure, that he's not getting overworked in practice. Like, they want to increase his usage, and they want to use him all season. Right. So they're being very, they're making sure that he can handle the workload and stay healthy and do all the things that he needs to do. But he's a really, really special player. Decorian Moore, the freshman, is awesome. He
Ridiculous.
is a stud. And I think he's going to continue to progress. Like, right now, they don't necessarily have a number one receiver, because they've had 4 different guys that Dante Moore is comfortable throwing it to and has touchdowns with. But I think it's going to be Decorian Moore as he continues to evolve. He's really special. And I really I love that. And I love the way that Dante Moore gets them the ball. Like, he's so poised, and he can read the defenses so well. Like, he's putting his receivers in really good positions. And I think last year, sometimes Dylan Gabriel would maybe underthrow a guy, or they'd have to wait for the pass sometimes. That's not happening. Like, Dante has been really on point. And Will Stein brought this up. It's kind of his first quarterback that he's had for 2 years. Now, Dante Moore didn't play last year, but he was in the room, in the offense, in the system. They've had different guys, because he got there for Bo Nix's last year, and then he had a 1-year deal with Dylan Gabriel. So he's so advanced in his understanding of what Will Stein wants to do, and all the different weapons that he likes to play with, because that's part of what makes it a hard offense to defend, that I think that's going to play out as well. Although you are, again, walking into an environment that you have never seen, nothing like this, with someone who's only got a few starts at Oregon under their belt. So that's a factor for sure. And also, again, can you hear, the noise and the play calls and everything you need to get in? But there's really not much to nitpick, I think, with Dante Moore through the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I really like what you said about Dante Moore. The idea for me is that he has a lot of throws available to him. You mentioned Dylan Gabriel might be an underthrow. Dante can put it on the back shoulder, right? He can locate it low and away from the defense where it's still catchable. He knows how to throw the fade ball. He throws a great touch. So I'm excited to see what that looks like with the talent that they have. I do agree. Run game is going to be big. I think anytime you go on the road, you have to establish a run, but in particular against this defense, they'll want to do that. And then to flip it over to the Oregon defense, I think they have monsters up front when it comes to rushing the passer. But, there is this question of how much they want to stop the run to get to the situation where they get to rush the passer. So I'll be looking at that. And then I think their back seven is a bunch of guys who are good athletes, but also very smart guys. So it allows them to do some different things there. I like what Oregon has going on from a personnel standpoint, but I also think that they've got a really good staff, because you can see on tape that these guys are taught well.
Would you give the edge to going into the game, as a full defense, all layers?
That's a tough one. I feel like I want to give the edge to Penn State, but I feel like it's a very slight edge, right? I think Oregon's defense is still really good, but Penn State it feels like it's just been at times suffocating, and I like the personnel they have at all 3 levels a little bit better.